Hello, RPA kids. Happy Wednesday. We are continuing investigating all of the stories and wonderful things that we find in the Bible. So it seems that we are looking at some patterns here. And a lot of our questions, our investigation questions, are about whether or not people that we find in the Bible are actually real. And so we're not going to look into every person in the Bible because a lot of the clues that we have for people are kind of the same. So we'll be doing a lot of repetition. But today I want us to look into a very interesting story. It is the story of Joseph. Have you ever heard about Joseph? And if you don't know his story, I recommend that you check out our RPA Kids series called Joseph's Family Drama. And here's a picture of it. I don't know how to do that whole link thing, but there should be a link in the video. If you know how to find it, you will. But let's talk about Joseph a little bit, okay? Joseph, we find the story of Joseph in Genesis, okay? And the very interesting story or thing about Joseph's life is that he was the youngest kid of 12. He was very much loved by his dad, and he had a lot of jealous brothers, okay? And Joseph was sold, like his brothers sold him into slavery, you guys. Can you imagine that? His brothers, they were out in the field, far away from home, and they decided, you know what? Let's put Joseph in a hole in the ground, a well, dried up well, and let's sell him into slavery. And they took a piece of clothing of Joseph's, covered it in animal blood, and told the dad that Joseph died. Isn't that horrible? Crazy story. And so then Joseph was sold into slavery. Okay, he was a slave. And then he became a powerful leader in Egypt, you guys. And eventually, this is a spoiler alert if you're going to go watch that video that I just told you to. He eventually became, his brothers had to come to Egypt for food because there was a famine in the land. And guess who's in charge? Joseph. So Joseph could have turned his family away and not given them food because of what they did to him, except Joseph chooses to forgive them. But there's a lot more drama involved, so I recommend you look at the video if you haven't ever done that before. But our detective question today, we're not going to talk about all of Joseph's story, really, but our question is, Joseph's story sounds so far-fetched. Joseph's story sounds so crazy. It sounds like a telenovela, because it kind of is. I mean, it's really crazy. It's very dramatic. And so our detective question is, what if your friend says, Joseph's story sounds like a fairy tale? There's no way that's true. How can you even know? So ready? Let's go figure this out. Follow me. So, clue number 1. Evidence details. Sorry, not evidence details. The Egyptian details match history, okay? This story about Joseph and all the details that we read in Genesis about Joseph's story are way too accurate. That only somebody who was actually a leader in Egypt would have known. Like, it's not common sense stuff. The titles, the customs, the government practices, only somebody who knew Egypt could really write about this stuff. So, yeah. Clue number 2, there is archaeological evidence of Semitic leaders in Egypt. Okay, archaeologists have found evidence, records that show that people like Joseph, okay, people who come from Jewish culture, actually served in very high positions in Egypt, leadership positions. This story about Joseph actually makes sense because we found other evidence that other people like Joseph, even him himself, were actually serving in these positions of authority in Egypt. That doesn't happen every day. Come on, man. Okay, clue number 3, final clue, evidence number 3, is that this story is way too detailed to be fake. Okay? When you read through Joseph, the story of Joseph in Genesis 37 through 47, okay? The story is so detailed. Real names, places, family names, and records. Made up legends don't include this level of detail. It's way too detailed to be fake, you guys. Like, it can't be, okay? So, it's not fake, all right? Seriously, come on. So, why is all of this important? Let me tell you why it's important. Because this is proof, you guys. The story of Joseph is proof that God works through real stories and real people to save them, to save Israel. I'm going to give you a quick little hint here. If Joseph had not been if Joseph had not been sold into slavery, he would not have been put into a leadership position in Egypt. And then he would have not been able to save his family when the famine hit. And so if he wouldn't have been able to do that, then who knows what would have happened? The line of Jesus comes through Israel. And so God he would have done it anyway, but he used this horrible situation that Joseph's brothers put him into and used it for good. And he does that all the time and everywhere in Scripture, and it's everywhere still happening to this day. God works through situations to save us all the time. And he sent Jesus to save us. It's all real. God is working, and it's amazing. So, practice. How are you going to tell your friends that Joseph's family drama was actually real life drama? It was not just a made up telenovela, okay? Specific events that are documented. My goodness, we're going to try this one more time. Clue. Clue number 2. Are you ready for this one? Archaeological evidence. Yes, that's right. You heard me. Archaeological evidence of Semitic leaders. Okay, that doesn't make sense.